Welcome, everyone. I'm MC Elias, and I am your host for today's interview with Glen Adams from HP. Glen participated in our HP and Dscoop mentoring program, and I am excited for everyone to hear what he has to say about the program. I think it'll be a great conversation. So thank you, Glen, for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you heard about the program?
Sure. You said I'm Glen Adams. I'm a category manager today for HP on the Indigo side. I manage the folding carton part of the business. I've been with Indigo for, again, hard to say this, but 27 years. So I've been here a long time. Met a lot of people, a lot of opportunities over the time. And, so that's who I am and where I'm at today.
Awesome. And how did you hear about the program? Did you want to become a mentor? Is that something that, you initiated, or
So,
did someone else tell you about
often you're hurled into things.
it?
I won't say that was completely it because, I think what you find in life is you're often a mentor and don't know it, right?
Hmm.
That's probably one of my biggest ahas of 2020 and 2021. You are a mentor to somebody. So when the opportunity came and I heard about what Dscoop was doing and HP partnering together with it, yeah,
Hmm.
100% raised my hand because I think we need more of that.
Yeah. And I think that's so valuable, what you just said about you are a mentor. I think all of us are mentors and
Oh, yeah.
mentees in some ways. And I think the people who excel the most in their careers and professional lives are those who find uh, people who are willing to guide them and share expertise with them. So it's really
Sure.
great to have people like you on the team. So thank you. As a mentor, something that we also know is that by being part of the program, not only are the mentees learning, but the mentors also get a lot out of it. So, what is something that you learned along the way?
You know, um, with my mentee, I think you assume that a mentee comes to the program. I got a green screen, green. You assume that somebody's coming to the table with very little. And
Hmm.
what I learned is, man, my mentee was a buttoned up individual the way I saw it. And it was fine tuning, it was tweaking that they were looking for. So I guess my expectation was here, and she quickly set the bar here, and it made
Hmm.
me have to rethink things. I expected I was getting a kid out of college, and let's talk about the real world now that I'm done school. And we had better, more productive business conversations.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm always also really surprised by even the generation after me. I have met many people who are still in high school who are overachievers and like in
Yeah,
all these different programs and clubs and things. And I'm like, oh,
sure.
you're excellent. So that's cool. Um, and were you surprised to this also be a learning experience for you, or did you actually expect to learn something?
I think what I've learned in the 27 years in corporate for me is you get something from everybody that
Yeah,
comes into your work life, personal life, and there's always some takeaways.
for
So,
sure.
yeah.
Awesome. And let's see, what was the highlight of your time in the program?
The conversations I look forward to them, on a weekly and bi-weekly basis, to see what the person was doing, how they were coming along with their career, their personal, where their next
Yeah.
steps were. And this person was in the midst of some big personal change where they were moving away from family,
Hmm.
and it was a big step for them. So,
Yeah.
I just think the overall conversations were good because you could see growth and things like that with the
Yeah.
person.
That's awesome. Something that when I'm putting together all of the HPND School mentoring program requirements, I know that it can be overwhelming to see kind of biweekly or weekly meetings with your mentee, but did it ever feel overwhelming to you? How was it?
I got a lot of opinions. You could do a whole podcast on me and my opinions. But what I'll tell you is I think people need to, when they do things like this, own it. Take it
Mhm.
seriously.
Yeah.
But in the same respect, even the mentors need a little bit of training.
Yeah.
So this was my first time. So I learned a bit, to be more structured, have more goals, put some things on my mentee that honestly, besides conversations, those were new and learnings for me, but definitely not over. If it's overwhelming, then I think you're not ready to be a mentor.
Mm.
Like, I think if you're in the right place in life, it's just rewarding. That's
Right.
the answer. I mean,
Yeah.
the looking back at it is being a mentor is nothing but rewarding, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see the next question. I think I want to talk a little bit about the industry because I think that's kind of something that we touch on throughout the program, right? We want to encourage young people to discover print and join the industry. So, what would you say is the biggest misconception about the industry in your opinion?
Not enough people are getting into our industry. That's for sure. And some of that, I think, we should probably fault ourselves for, those of us that are my age and been in the industry long enough, because we're not talking it up enough. It's a great industry. There's a lot of opportunity within this industry. And what is so absolutely exciting for the right person coming out of school or even second career, right? Somebody might have been doing this and they're redirecting to something else, is that the needs of the printer of today or the graphic art community, the skills you have just from where you're at in life are things that aren't necessarily easy for them. Social media, things like
Mhm.
that. And, it's funny how those things apply and are, second nature to the person jumping in. So, while you think you're not bringing something to the table,
Mhm.
I do think a new eye, a new perspective, and there are places to go in this business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that I've heard this line. I will never get it right, but it's not your dad's printing company. It's not your
Mhm.
mom's printing company anymore. Things are very different, very high tech,
Yeah.
very cool, and I think engaging in a technology perspective.
Yeah, I think that's very true. There's so much that's coming out, even like the way that the print industry has changed over the last 10, 15 years is massive. Um, so there's a lot of opportunity for young people to be involved in so many different aspects of the industry. So,
The other thing to consider, it's like Mike Rowe does his thing about college. It's not to say college is for everybody or isn't for
mhm, exactly.
everybody, but you can make a good living in print without a
Mhm,
college degree.
that is true.
The cool thing about print is if you're not somebody who has gone down that road, because it's not for everybody,
Mhm.
in print, and it still works this way, which is amazing, is you start in the bindery, you start in the front office, and you can grow
Yeah.
where you can grow. So I think it is one of these industries that offers a good living, college education or not a college education. Certainly there's some, directions and tweaks, but that
Totally.
that is a big piece of this industry. It's good business, good career, I think, coming out of it.
100%. Totally agree. And, that's something also that I want to highlight about the program is that you don't have to be a college student to be a part of the program. You can be older, you can be around that age, as long as you're interested in print and the graphic arts industry, whether that be in like the business side of things, in the operational side of things, you can join our program.
Yeah, and I think the thing that you might be interested to find out is you may go into it thinking this is the side of the business you like, and you
Hmm.
might find out that, oh my God, I love this side. And I
Yeah.
say that because I spent the first 20 years of my career at Indigo very technical, all technical. I'm the solution architect, dealt with all of our products, all of our verticals. And over the last number of years, I've gotten to the business side. It is for sure the future for me. I love that side of the business.
That's awesome.
So keeping yourself open
Yeah.
to directions that you might not have thought about, but once you get exposed to it, you're like, well, that's not as boring as I thought. That's actually
Yeah.
quite exciting. And there's an impact still on the business. You still impact the business day to day.
For sure. So I'm super interested about that change that you made. So what made you like change directions? How did you do that?
So, at Indigo, we got lots of products, but I ran out of products and I ran out of verticals. I've helped with, I've been on the commercial print side. I've helped out with the label and packaging side. I've even helped out on the inkjet side. So The good thing for me is it gave me a broader understanding of the business
Yeah.
from that side. But I ran into an opportunity where they said, Glenn, we're kind of short a category manager. Can you dual purpose your jobs? And it was the start for me of really getting me back into excitement, not just how fast is it? How do you do this?
Yeah.
I think about bigger picture things that don't just have impacts on today,
Yeah.
but I try to think about the tomorrow, the 5 years. And you said it, years ago, they say products came out every this many years. So the cycle of new products was here.
Mhm.
And today it just keeps shortening up. And that gives me something to think about, but I got to be quick. I can't plan 5 years out. I need to plan 18 months. So,
Yeah.
but it's fun. It's fun. It's exciting. And I really appreciate the opportunity the company gave me to do it. But you also have to be ready for, as my bosses and my mentors have told me, that sometimes an opportunity presents itself that doesn't look like it's in the path you're going, but ultimately that helps you get to the path you're going. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid to take something that might not
Mhm.
100% see where you're going.
Yeah.
That was a big learning. I need to take this job that I have no interest in to
Mhm.
get to that job.
Right.
Yeah. And it clicks once you
For
start
sure.
doing that. You're like, now I get it.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And that's something that I've seen also with, we work very hand in hand with HP through a lot of our programs. And so
Yeah,
that's something that I've seen with many of your colleagues that they started out in completely different segments of the industry and ended
sure.
up in their current jobs. And I think that also speaks to the fact that there is that growth potential in the industry, and that if you don't love where you start out, like you can change that, and there's mobility and there's diversity in the things that you can choose to do.
And you have to own your part.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I think, early career for me. I didn't quite understand that, and as I've gotten older, I understand more and more of that. The company provides the tools. Dscoop provides some tools for people to help them with the mentoring, but in the end, nobody's going to walk over with a job and say, "Hey, here's a job for you." You have to be the one, going after things.
Yeah.
You have to not necessarily know what you want, but you have to be on the look for the next job.
Yeah.
I
For
think
sure.
that's an important piece that I wish, Glenn at 25 when he started at Indigo had some mentor that gave me some of this advice, because what took me 27 years, I think with the right mentor, I could have done in 10 or 15.
Yes, correct. I totally agree. I think it's so important for all of us to have a mentor. And you've mentioned that now in your career you have mentors. So I'm very interested to know, like, what is some of the best things that could have come out of your own, like, relationships with your mentors?
They call you on the carpet to things that you may not want to know or know about yourself. So the ones that are close to you and see you on a daily basis say, if you want to get here, did you realize when people see you, this is what they see? So, one of the examples for me was probably almost 20 years ago. I wanted to run our demo center. Now, I still don't do that, but it was a goal early on.
Yeah.
And the manager or my mentor said to me, "But Glenn, you come to work in jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers like all the other people in the demo center. And it's when people see you, they see you as a guy who works in the demo center, not as somebody who manages the demo center." So his tip of the day for me: dress the part you want, act the way you want. You want a leadership role, act like a leader, right? So those things,
Yeah.
it's just crazy because
That's
in my
great
20s,
advice.
I wasn't, I would say I'm probably wasn't as open to it. I just hope that people take advantage of this type of these type of programs. Now, I
Mhm.
think that technology helps us today with this, because 25 years ago, 20 years ago, we weren't on Zoom. I
Right.
don't have such access to a mentor.
Yeah.
But literally today, there's no excuse to not just set up a weekly Zoom call with somebody who's 5,000 miles away.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more availability. So
Yeah.
and mentors can be in different aspects of your career and life. You don't need one mentor does not answer all things. You may need somebody to help you with coaching in this and coaching with that. And
Yeah.
So it may not even be somebody who's in your part of the business.
You know, something that people don't know now that you mentioned about Zoom and all of that, something that people may not know is that when we first started the mentoring program, when Mark Hollum started it, the intention was for it to be in person and to have these students go to the printers and kind of see what it was like in a print shop. But because of COVID, we transitioned into this beautiful mentorship program that really allows people from all walks of life to join and to have a mentor. I think, you know, from the get go, if you're joining this program as a mentee, you already have initiative to, you know, grow in your career. So I think it's really cool to see relationships between both mentees and mentors blossom through the program, because we know both of you, both sides of the coin, are so very invested in this. And it's wonderful to have very cool and dedicated mentors like you as
Yeah, I
part of
just hope that, people, be open to the feedback, right?
it.
Because,
Hmm.
one of the things I think most of the mentors say is, man, I wish somebody had told me this 20
Yeah.
years ago. And we are saying that from the heart. I
Yeah.
truly say that as somebody who wish I had taken this step 15 years ago. If somebody had only, now I own some of that, but,
Of course.
so
A little help
I,
along the way.
yeah. So these people are such helps, and you never know who is a mentor to you.
Hmm.
Like if somebody says, "Oh, I don't have a mentor," yeah, I bet you do. Listen, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your dad giving some career advice based on
Yeah.
what they did. That's kind of mentoring too.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with a whole bunch of managers at the same time. Felt like an inquisition, and at the end of the day, they said, well, who's your mentor? And I'm like, guys, all of you, I use you as mentors. Now, I don't have a single one, but
Yeah.
I look for advice from anybody who I think can offer something up. And
Mhm.
maybe you don't take everything they say
Yeah.
and say it applies to me. But if I can pull one nugget out, a couple things, and
Hmm.
incorporate that into my day to day, I think it helps, and it can
Yeah.
really, like, I think where you could go. I have three daughters, but all adults, all in the workforce today. And I'm talking to my youngest daughter about a sales job and what things to think about, and she's like, "Dad, I had never considered that, never considered that." And it's
Yeah.
like, I want her to be on a skyrocket for
Yeah.
what I didn't know at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good
It's
good
so
stuff.
valuable. So
Yep.
valuable. So Glenn, before I let you go, I have one last question, and that is, what advice would you give someone coming into the program, what advice would you give to a mentor and what advice would you give to a mentee?
Yeah, so I think the mentee, think about it, put down on paper what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, where maybe you see your path going. And then from a
Mhm.
mentor standpoint is be more structured. The conversations are fantastic
Mhm.
as more like a fireside chat with the person,
Mhm.
but you need to have some action.
Yeah.
There need to be actionable things, and give somebody a little project. Hey, try this, try that. And some of the mentors that are in the program today are, we'll call them senior mentors, meaning they've done it over and over and
Mhm.
over. Mark, who helped us put this together from our side, Mark's that guy for me. He
Yeah.
knows that. He knew that. And he's mentoring the mentor to say, Glenn, but you're not doing this and you're not doing that. So,
Yeah.
from a mentor standpoint, also have a plan and reach out to some of the senior mentors to
Yeah.
find out what are those actionable things that you can help your mentee with.
For sure. Awesome. That was excellent. Thank you so much for your time, for being here with us today, and for sharing all of your insights into the program. I think it was so valuable for everyone watching. So thank
Thank you so much. Look, I hope everybody a lot of luck in their mentee or mentors.
you. Thank you. We hope to
Yep,
have you back, Glenn.
at
Yeah.
100%. Yep,
Okay.
for sure.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Glenn.